Steve Cooper, Rank Success, and this is another short video for people going for Sergeant, Inspector, Chief Inspector. And this video is around the topic, the nature, the subject of performance management. So when we're talking about performance management and what it means, I'll often ask questions to people who are going for promotion. Just tell me a little bit about how you intend to manage performance. So whether that's at your level as Sergeant, Inspector, Chief Inspector, the question stands. So trying to link that to the role, when we talk about leadership in the role of Sergeant, Inspector, Chief Inspector, it's generally, I try and shrink it into context for people. It's leadership for people, performance and change, and this one is around performance. So I just wanted to talk about it because I find that people either are not informed, haven't done the work, and generally sometimes haven't got a Scooby-Doo about that issue, and we need to talk about it and open up a little bit around it and try and look at some resources, try and look at some areas where a candidate can find out a little bit more and become a little bit more not only aware of the issues and the challenges that the force are experiencing, or that personal professional challenges that you might face as a newly promoted leader, officer, supervisor, manager. So it's just in the context of going for a promotion board, a promotion panel, I just wanted to talk and open up the conversation, if you like, provide some food for thought around that, because generally I find that people are a little bit challenged when it comes to doing that, understandably. Others are not. Others have got a good kind of overview, and if you remember, one of the videos I did recently is peel assessments, golden peel assessments, talking about police effectiveness, efficiency and legitimacy inspections of forces. So that can help as one perspective, as one lens, if you like, to look through the issue of performance. But it's very much around your responsibility, your accountability. So one of the things I start to get people to get comfortable using is, if you're going to talk to a promotion board, get used to saying, look, I recognise my primary role as a sergeant, as an inspector, as a chief inspector, is to drive performance. And to me, that means, okay, so you can add on what you want to that. But it's just about having that confidence to start talking about, start thinking about and understanding performance from a slightly different and deeper level than perhaps you are when you're going about actually doing the job. So it's slightly different, trying to just get to that point where you're more informed, you're more comfortable, you're more confident about talking about performance. So if we're talking about it in very simple terms, I like to think about it as two sides of a coin, effectiveness and results. So effectiveness on one side, and again, you can link that to the Peel report if you want to develop that thinking. And results, it's always about results, and there will always be results that are needed to be achieved. So what do you know about that in the context of your own force, your own department, because those results will be linked to force needs, force aims, the policing plan. So what do you know about them? You know, can you nail them in 30 seconds if you need to? Because if you can't nail them in 30 seconds and talk about them, you're probably unlikely to be able to expand upon them on a promotion board when you ask questions. So trying to get comfortable about performance is a good tip as part of your preparation for promotion. So your primary role as a sergeant or inspector inspecting ranks is to drive performance. So what is that about? If I was to say to you, what is performance management about? How would you talk about that? So there's no right way, no wrong way, no perfect way to do it. It's just about you demonstrating an enhanced awareness and confidence to be able to do that on a promotion board. So a promotion panel can look at you and go, you know, this individual seems to know exactly what they're talking about. They know about the challenges they're going to face personally and professionally going forward. They are clearly confident when they're talking about it. We therefore have confidence in listening to this individual that they can do the job and they will do the job. And they're two of the unwritten questions that promotion panels, boards and chairs are looking for. You know, can this individual do the job, and have they persuaded or influenced us, you know, their leadership skills as well, that they will do the job. So this is what that's talking about. So when we talk about performance management, some of the couple of things that you might want to think about what it is about and what it isn't about, because there are debates around that. and there's enough information for you to form your own opinion. So when we talk about what it is about how well something is done, and that's something that you can affect as a newly promoted officer. So doing things well is what performance is about. Reviewing things, so just reviewing things, looking through things, thinking through things. Did that work? Was it what we wanted to achieve? If it wasn't, what would we change? What would we do differently? And don't forget, you've got stage 5 of the NDM, which provides a review option or function for you to look at and build that into your thinking and your decision making. So reviewing is about good performance. Learning, again, stage 5 of the NDM, you could include learning, because that's about identifying individual, team and organisational learning. But it's also about sharing that learning, embedding that learning. How do you do that once you've identified it? What's the process for doing that? Because good performance is generally based around learning from mistakes, learning from business, day-to-day business, learning what works, what evidence there is available, and keeping that process, or starting to join these functions, these issues together. So review, learning, challenging, so respectfully challenging. If something isn't being done right, or you think it might be able to be done better, respectfully challenging and asking questions. Just how is that being done at the moment? Okay, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And just assuming that leadership drive, if you like, when we talk about your responsibilities to drive performance, good leaders ask questions as well. So if you see something being done and you've genuinely got questions around it, or you think it can be done better and there's some innovation and creativity that could be applied to it, that's really important. That's what the service wants from you. That's what as a leader, as a manager, as a supervisor, that's what's expected of you. So use your ideas, use your confidence to identify and to challenge respectfully at all levels of the organisation. So whatever rank you are, challenge performance and ask the right questions. Quality, good performance is around quality as well. So whatever you're talking about, quality is important, and that's important per se, but as an inspector, it's part of your role. So when work is allocated, it's your job to monitor the progress and the quality of that work, so perhaps over a longer period of time. So you're working more strategically with that, so that the plan or the performance issue or work or project that you're looking at isn't short term, it's longer term, and you need to monitor the progress and the quality of it. So quality is an important thing around what performance is about. Accountability, so accountability is built in through systems, mechanisms, processes, procedures, but accountability also sits with you as a leader, as a manager, as a supervisor. You're accountable for when things go well, when they don't go well, and for putting things in place to problem solve and put things right when they do go wrong, and just having that overview of accountability, and know that it sits with you as part of your leadership role and function. Responsibility, well, that's a broad word. You are responsible, whatever rank you are, for performance, collectively, jointly. Responsibility sits with you, and included in that really is setting clear and realistic priorities for people, so and for teams and for departments, and just making sure that people are sighted on clarity and realistic priorities. And it's difficult to kind of expand too much on that, because it's just about making a point around what good performance is about, and then I want to just switch over quickly, if you like, to the other side about what it's not about. And it's not about chasing statistics. It has been though. So what is it to you at the moment? What should it mean to you? But I would say it isn't necessarily about chasing statistics. It isn't about a single approach either. There's generally, policing is a complex business. One approach might be quite narrow, and it's collaboration is one of the competencies on the competency and values framework. So a single approach doesn't necessarily work. You're looking to collaborate, particularly with across teams, partnership approaches and initiatives, and memorandums of understanding, sharing and managing and transferring risk. So a single approach doesn't always work to things. Fixed methods, same kind of thing. Performance isn't necessarily around fixed methods. You want more flexibility. It's not around short-termism. So I touched on that earlier on. As an inspector, you're looking to work across the short, medium, and perhaps longer term. And it's just having this mindset to think through performance in this way. Hitting the target and missing the point. You might hit the target and crush and demoralise your teams in the process and miss the point of what you were trying to achieve. So again, it's that wider understanding, and everything being a priority. And sometimes I see that surfacing on social media that, you know, cops, officers are always talking about everything being a priority. And sometimes it can seem like that. So just returning to a position, particularly as a promotion candidate, of identifying what you understand the priorities to be, that you believe the priorities to be, and then having a plan in place, using guidance and policies and procedures to help inform you, but using your own drive and enthusiasm and creativity and innovation and knowledge around these issues to kind of just keep a finger on the pulse, keep your finger on the pulse of what performance is, where you are with it, and just having that mature assessment of your own attitude to it and the issues. It's tough sometimes, particularly working towards targets, achieving things, getting things done in the way they should be done, but it falls to you in that role, that leadership aspect of leadership for people, performance and change. So I just wanted to kind of quickly talk about some of the areas where performance can fall down, and I say to people, where do you think the issues and the challenges lie with performance and keeping on top of it? And again, you know, people say, well, what do you mean? Where can I find that out? And what I'm talking about generally is there are generally around, I think it's around 4 reasons why performance fails. Now, obviously, there are people who are far more educated than me and work with this kind of stuff all the time, but the 4 things that I've always thought about are culture. If the culture's not right, and that's something you can contribute to as a first and second and third line manager, if the culture's not right, what are you doing about it? You know, what's being done about it? Because, you know, performance can suffer if the culture's not right. And when people say, well, I can't really affect that, I encourage people to think around, okay, when you go home at night and the police station's empty or the building you work in is empty of people, it's literally just got desks, computers and chairs in it, there's no culture there. The culture comes back in the morning with the people. When people come into that station, into that building, the culture's carried with them. So the culture does sit in the post, occupied in the role, and that's what we're talking about. So there is an opportunity for you to understand that, think around that, and to understand that, you know, culture is really important. So the other point that I would make, second point, is knowledge or skills. If people haven't got the knowledge or the skills to do something, they don't know how to do it, then again, you can do something about that, because that falls around training and supervision and coaching and mentoring, just to help people understand and to get those skills and those abilities they need to be able to do the job. You can't expect people to do it if they don't possess the skills. So that's back around to you at your level of understanding, you know, your team as individuals, understanding their primary and their secondary skills, their collective skills as a team, just so that you're surfing these issues in your mind to help people perform effectively, because that's what you're there to do through that accountability function. Process. So the problem might sometimes not be the individual. It may not be individual based or related, but it's caused by working conditions. And again, having an overview and oversight about the working environment and conditions, and having some attitude or focus around that, and the procedures and systems and mechanisms in place. That's something as a sergeant, as inspector, chief inspector, leader, manager, supervisor, you can and should be thinking about how you can do that, and enabling and removing blockages and barriers to performance. So process might be one of those. And the last one I just want to talk about on the 4th point is resources. So if you've got a lack of resources or technological capacity, technology, that could also affect performance. So there are generally reasons why performance fails, And you know, that last one there, just making it known if it's about resources or technology. You know, you've got tasking and coordination process, to ask for more resources if it's that, to bid for resources through the tasking process, and to get those decisions recorded where they are provided or they're not provided. Your mission, your job really is to ask for those resources repeatedly if necessary, because if it's a performance issue, then you know you need to be reporting those issues up, and to make sure that people are well aware of the issues, because that's about helping to get resources, which again, you know, good leaders do that. They try and get the resources for their team and battle for those resources, those finite resources, to get the job done and to manage performance and their part in the organisation. So that's just a short kind of video, 15-16 minutes, and I just wanted to kind of set that into context again with, you know, some questions you might consider to practice, to verbalise your responses. If you've got an interview coming up, you know, how do you manage performance? How will you manage your resources effectively as newly promoted sergeant or inspector? Okay, and that, you know, those roles are very much around mobilising the energy and the resources in the organisation, and that links back to managing performance. As a new sergeant or inspector, how will you use your resources to manage and improve performance? So you need to understand what performance is before you understand how you might improve that. And where do you see opportunities to improve performance for your team? Or for your department, or for you, or for the force. So there's lots of practice questions you can do to really kind of help elevate that. And I just want to set that back into context of the role of leadership for people, performance and change. So that's just, as I say, a very quick video just to touch on some of this, because when I do ask these questions of people and we do have these conversations and I connect people with these issues and they make the connection with these potential answers and responses, they go away and do the work and come back and really do well on promotion boards, because they've elevated their own awareness, their self-awareness and their professional awareness of the organisation and issues such as performance, and being able to confidently talk about them. Okay, so if you want to have a look at some really detailed examples of what good answers or responses look like in writing or in examples, I have digital guides. You can listen to a podcast I've done now. I shall be covering these issues in a podcast. Or you can download a promotion masterclass video, and I have said that this year everybody will get the opportunity of having a code. So it's RS Guides 20, so Romeo Sierra and the word guides 20, all together, all block capitals, no spaces. That'll get you 20% off any of my products, any of my digital guides, or the promotion masterclass or bundles. Okay, I will be back with another video shortly, and until then, take care and all the best.